Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Ammar, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to have Gordon Tolson, founder of Glory Scars, a creative studio that empowers brands to harness their most defining moments, scars included, to forge identities that resonate and endure. With nearly 20 years of design experience and a personal journey of resilience following a near life ending accident, Gordon creates with authenticity, not polish. Gordon, welcome to Founders Future.
Ammar, thank you so much for the opportunity, man. Looking forward to it.
I am excited to dive in. I always like to start from the beginning. So take us back to before you started Glory Scars. What were you doing beforehand, and what was really the motivation behind starting the company?
Beforehand, just your average neighborhood designer. I design for big corporations and whatnot, but also just doing freelance on the side for mom and pop shops or the cousin that had the great idea needs a logo. And then I, for whatever reason, got into designing obituaries for people
Wow.
because they didn't the traditional ones, but it was an opportunity to build. So I was looking forward to it. So yeah, before Glory Scars, just working a 9 to 5 and freelancing on the side.
Okay, very cool. And then what was the motivation behind starting the company?
Believe it or not, I had a different name originally that I was thinking about. I hadn't quite planted it yet. I was originally going to go with a company name called Sheep of Clay, but and that had more of a biblical context behind it. And so let me give you the story behind it. Or initially, when I went to school, university, I didn't intend to jump into the 9 to 5. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I always knew the two things that were definitive to make money was being able to make something innovative
Mm,
and being able to sell it. So my major was fine arts with a concentration in graphic design, and my minor was marketing and sales. And I always knew that sales and marketing and branding, all those things were king in regards to being a successful entrepreneur. But I did have to get a 9 to 5 and everything to make ends meet. When I was going to my 9 to 5, just in just regular routes and everything like that, I realized that I had an issue with my vehicle. I took my vehicle to the mechanic. And the mechanic said everything checked out, but in my heart, I felt that wasn't the
mm,
case. I could hear my tire. And so one day I was driving to work and my tire ejected from my car and my car flipped 7 times.
wow.
And I woke up in the hospital. I
Wow.
didn't even remember leaving the house. And when I was sitting there in the hospital, I asked the doctor, I said, when will I be going home? And the doctor said, get comfortable, you'll be here for 6 months. And in my spirit, I'm always the type of person, I'm stubborn, one. And two, I can't let other people, I can't give somebody else the pen to my story to write my
Mhm.
script. And staying in the hospital for 6 months just wasn't in my on my vision board or in my plans. So I actually left on the fourth day. But while I was in the hospital, that's where the name Glory Scars came about. Because
Mm,
I looked at myself, looked at my injuries, and I'm the type of person I like to give my problems a name and make it work for me, as opposed to sitting in sorrowing depression. I like to give it an assignment because we all have challenges, no matter what our story is or how we start or how low we start. We all have challenges. And that was more or less sitting in the hospital bed. And then as I continued to think about it, it reminded me of in business, it's the same thing. You hear about businesses, they have their ups and they have their downs, and I thought it was a fitting name. And it was also something that I felt was fitting in regards to identifying the challenges that people try to sweep under the rug. Because similar to you, when we first were talking, understanding the trajectory of what success looks like. And like for example, Kevin Hart, the comedian, he said that he had a 19-year overnight success story. Understanding that kind of grueling process to become successful. And
yeah.
sorry if that was a little long-winded, but yeah, that's the
No, no,
story.
it's all good. How long ago was that accident?
2014.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's powerful. I'm glad you're still with us.
Thank
God
you
bless.
so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, because that's no joke, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's fast forward today, and I appreciate you sharing that, by the way. It's good for people to hear that kind of stuff. But regardless, let's fast forward to today. With your company, Glory Scars, who's your ideal customer? And what types of offers and services that you provide do you provide?
As of today, I work with different, I guess you would say, different tiers of clientele. So I'm interested in working with entrepreneurs like you and I. I help corporations and I work with just, I guess you would say, your visionaries or those with big ideas, but they don't necessarily have the business acumen and or the capital to afford certain creatives or designers or artists. I have different tiers for the different groups that I work with.
Got it. And how do you work with these individuals specifically? What are the offers? What are the services? What does that look like?
Right now, I'm solely doing graphic design, multimedia design. I do like fine arts. I help organizations build like their brand identity and things of that nature, like logo development, social media branding, so on and so forth.
Got it. Okay, very cool. Do you have it structured like a package, or is
Yes.
it come in and they let us know? Okay, walk me through the packages.
I don't have it up right now, but basically, depending on like their particular budget that they have, I work with the organization on if they want to have like a subscription. So I have a subscription plan where you get a certain amount of services per month, and then I also have where you can have your project per project basis, and then they can subscribe to either doing an hourly basis or they can do it like just per project, like just have a fixed price, fixed fee per project. That's the packaging that I do right now,
Got it.
depending on who the clientele is.
Got it. Okay. So you've got the subscription plan, you've got the per project basis, and
Mhm.
then there's also the fixed option as well. Walk me through when it comes to generating leads and bringing in new business, how are you currently approaching that to grow your clientele?
I reach out on different social media platforms. I put up like different ads or I put up different pieces of work and just to garner if anybody's interested in working with me or if I see somebody that puts up something, I may send them a DM and ask them would they be interested in me helping them elevate their brand, their packaging, their flyer poster, branding, or what have you, even if it's like a social media banner. Because a lot of times people that have like great ideas and one of the things as a graphic designer that I've noticed, and that was one of the problems that made me even want to start. A lot of people don't have great ideas. They assume because they can color in the lines of a coloring book that they understand design and they understand branding and they understand messaging for their audience and having like visual communication. And even if you have the best idea, if it's not branded properly, nobody's going to be interested. And I tell people you have to look at your brand and your messaging as like a movie trailer. You only have a short amount of time for to get everyone interested or to spark that appeal. You want to give like your highlight reel of what you're trying to do, but it has to
Mm,
be presented in a certain way that people are even interested to stop and look at it.
got it. So it sounds like social media is the biggest component when it comes to lead generation for you.
And word of mouth marketing too.
Word
That's
of
always great because if you
mouth.
do good services for somebody, they refer you to somebody else. Yeah.
Got it. One thing that we talk about a lot in this on this podcast is the power and importance of having predictable lead generation in place. So basically, some sort of process that's like a faucet where you can turn it on, turn it off, get more leads, get less leads at will. Now, the problem with word of mouth and social media and referrals is that it can be very inconsistent is the word. They can be some of the best leads in the world, but it's not reliable in the sense of I know in June I'm getting this many or in July I'm getting this many, right? It's not predictable, it's not repeatable. So I'm curious for you in your early stages right now, how are you dealing with that inconsistency when it comes to lead generation? And how are you navigating that? Walk me through your perspective.
That's very true. It's hard. And then even if you do have clients that are signed to work with you, you know, that trying to predict when they'll need projects sometimes is difficult because sometimes they'll have like a 4 month sprint where they have stuff for you and then die out for 2 or 3 months, then they'll pick back up again. So for me right now, I would say that it's just more so just reaching out via social media, advertising, just consistently speaking with people, networking. I go to different networking events where shaking hands, passing out cards and things of that nature. And I do different engagements with, I speak at universities sometimes, helping students, and that's helped me build leads and things of that nature too. But as of right now, my biggest game plan has just been marketing myself, marketing my services, advertising different kind of work that I can do and will do or have done. That's more so the formula that I've used right now. I know that you can do like social media ads and things of that nature too to generate, but as of right now, I guess the biggest struggle that I'm having so far is just having the capital to consistently do ads and things of that nature. But slow and steady wins the race. I'll get to that when I can.
There you go. What's your sales process look like? So once a lead does come in, what are the different steps in the process that they go through for them to become a client?
What are the different steps that they go through to become a client? First off, I have to look at how serious they are about what they want and if it's practical. For example, sometimes people will come to me and they'll have an idea. And they'll say their company name. And then I'll ask them, is it trademarked? Do you have a trademark? Do you own the domains? Do you have the social media handles? And sometimes they'll say no. Sometimes they'll say, oh, that's something that they're working on. And so I'll tell them you have to go out there, see if the name is already in use. Because if the name is already in use, you need to come up with a different name, so on and so forth. That'll affect your branding and so on and so forth too. So if I can get clients that come in, depending on what they need, but if they need like brand development and so on and so forth, I tell them to go about making sure their trademarks and or they have their copyrights and all that stuff together before we start to build. And then if they come and they have all those things, then I'm more inclined to work with them because the one thing I tell them that I don't want to happen is I build all this stuff. And a lot of people they'll use social media and they'll put out their stuff and all this information about their company and then it's easily stolen because they don't
Mm,
have any kind of protection around it. And so
yeah,
I tell
yeah,
them before I even work with them, there's no need to do that because if I make something for you and then you don't have any the proper protections and then it gets taken or manipulated or whatever, you have nothing to secure it. That's more or less the biggest step that I take as of right now.
yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting. Walk me through your goals. So when you think over the next 12 months, what are you looking to accomplish in this business? Any specific revenue targets, performance targets? Walk me through that.
And the next year, hopefully I can secure, I'm trying to get some bigger clients because I'm trying to get in to like branding and like the entertainment industry and storytelling industry. So if I can secure some of those clients, that would be great. And then I'm just trying to have a consistent revenue in my company so that I can hire other designers and other, I guess you would say like project managers and so on and so forth to
Mm,
build my organization because trying to do everything by myself it's only going to go so far before I can burn out or anything like that. And I've interviewed a few people, like some writers, some art directors, and so on and so forth. But right now, I'm just trying to garner the capital necessary to be able to pay those individuals to be on board. And I don't want to bring anybody on board if I don't have consistent work for them too. In the next 12 months, I would say to garner consistent clientele and then start to hire different designers to help build and expand the brand.
got it. What do you feel like is the biggest challenge you're facing right now as a business owner?
Secure garnering capital,
Mm,
having the capital necessary. And of course, I've spoken with different entrepreneurs and a lot of people they'll go out and they'll get the loans and grants and things of that nature. And that's great. But I feel like if you're going to get your loan, depending on what your business is, that is, if you're going to have the loans and things of that nature, I feel that you should have kind of a sure bet that you're going to have a particular clientele to be able to afford to pay them back and so on and so forth. But yeah, I would say for me right now is just having consistent capital to where I can start to employ the different team members that I need to expand
got
my
it.
brand.
Got it. Okay. And then a lot of that comes down to just lead flow and then just closing sales.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'm curious. Let me ask you this. If you could go back in time and tell yourself something you wish you knew when you were first starting off in business, what would that be?
Go back in time. I would probably say, let me think about it. If I could go back in time and tell myself, I would probably say it doesn't matter how many good ideas you have to have more of a plan of attack to how to garner the capital in order to see it through in order to fulfill the vision that you have. Because you can have a bunch of great ideas, but if you don't have the means in which to execute, a lot of times you can face either burnout or you feel like it's not even worth the journey and
Mhm.
they'll quit and they'll be like, oh, maybe it's not for me. I tried, or so and so forth. And I'm the type, again, I'm stubborn. So I will be relentless and I'll study and I'll read and I'll practice and I'll fail and I'll get up again. What the actor Denzel Washington said, he said, if you're going to fall forward. And that's what I try to do. So that's basically what I would say. Because I would say when I first got started, I started off with a bunch of ideas and I was reading like stats of what other companies had done and other entrepreneurs had done. And I was like, okay, I'll do that too. But once you actually get into the mix, you realize that it's easier said than done sometimes.
Execution is definitely different than speaking about it or thinking about it.
For
Completely.
sure.
So walk me through what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
Best way for people to reach out to me, they can go on my website, gloryscars.com, GLORYSCARS, and they can find me on Instagram at gloryscars, Facebook at gloryscars, Twitter, now X, at gloryscars LLC, and I'm on TikTok at gloryscars as well. They can find me, reach out to me, or they can reach out to my email at tolsong@gloryscars.com.
Awesome.
And I'd love to support them and help them out.
Gordon, thank you so much for your time. I
And
really
thank you,
appreciate
Ammar.
it.
Appreciate it.
Anytime. So that wraps up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you're a business owner and you're looking to scale your business and really enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.